I never thought we'd make it to this day. Welcome to Demolition Day. And welcome to the final ever episode of What's Behind the Devil's Door. Let's roll those credits. Welcome back to the final day on set. Today, we say goodbye to this set and to this story, and honestly, it's quite emotional. It's been a journey, a wild journey filled with so many ups and downs, turbulence and triumph, but it's been the most life-changing journey, and looking back, honestly, I would not change a single goddamn thing. But before we do get way too emotional and say goodbye to this set, I do want to chat with you about one more thing, and that's the festival journey. Now, when it does come time to submit your film to festivals, it's a very daunting experience because you're putting your baby that you've nurtured from the script now to the screen. You're putting that baby basically up for judgment by industry professionals, and it can be brutal. But the one thing you've got to keep in mind is the reason why you're a filmmaker, the reason why you've made this film, the reason why you've brought all these amazing people together to help bring this story to life. You want to share this story. This is a story that means so much to you. You've got to share that with as many people as you can. And that's the purpose of festivals, and that's the reason why filmmakers exist, because stories need to be shared, and this is just another medium of sharing it with as many people as possible. So when it does come time to submit to festivals, the one thing that I've learnt that will actually take the pressure off is following these three things. Where do you want this story to go? Who's going to see this story in terms of your audience? And number three, what do you, your cast and crew, want to gain out of this experience? So when it came time to planning my submission for The Devil and the Deep Blue Sea, I knew that I wanted an even split of both national and international film festival submissions. I knew that I wanted to submit my film locally to festivals that were up and coming or had a prominent audience in attendance over the years. Some of these do include St Kilda Film Festival, Fantastic Film Festival, but I also did reach out more nationally. I did submit to, I believe it's the Perth Queer Film Festival, because yet again, as I'll speak to later, audience is key when you are submitting to festivals. Now, in terms of the international film festivals that I wanted to submit to, I knew that I only wanted to submit to areas in Ireland, potentially Scotland, but mostly the UK, because that is where the story originates. That's where these characters originate, and I wanted to pay homage to that. And as well as that, my goal, if I were to ever get into the film and television industry, which hopefully I do, but the hope is, and the plan is, that I would work in the UK film and television industry. I just see myself there, and I see a lot of potential there, especially with this story, and that's why I wanted to submit to those areas in Europe. Now, the second thing you got to keep in mind, as I said before, is audience. Audience is key when it comes to submitting to film festivals, because there's no point in submitting a horror film to a film festival that is a romance-based film festival. It's just not going to work. It's just not going to gel, and you're not going to get your film in. So you got to keep in mind who you're submitting to. Now, the audience, the intended audience, I had planned and based this film on from the groundwork up is members of the LGBTQIA+ community. Now, when it came to submitting for film festivals, I obviously wanted to make sure that I was submitting to festivals that had that prominent LGBTQIA plus audience in attendance. And I also wanted to make sure that I was submitting to a festival that honored these stories and had a history of bringing these stories to life, no matter how tragic or how uplifting they are, because all these stories deserve to be shared no matter what. So obviously I kept that audience in the forefront of my mind and made sure that I submitted to festivals that had that focus, especially a lot of queer film festivals in Australia and in the UK as well. But another audience that was intended to be engaged by this film is obviously fans of independent horror films, especially fans of any A24 films. Like, this is something that would have A24 written all over it. So that is another audience I intended to engage, and so that's why I made sure that I did submit to some cult or underground film festivals, both nationally and internationally, so that way I could share this story with that audience and gain more interest in this story from those audiences who love independent horror, who love original horror stories that break the mold and change expectation. But those are the main two audiences I want to show this film to. I want them to see this film and the complexities of these characters and the honesty of this story. And the final thing you got to keep in mind is, what do you want to gain out of this? Of course, you're putting money into this, which we'll get into later. And, you know, all this hard work, all these blood, sweat and tears from your cast and crew and yourself, like, you've got to gain something out of this whole experience, whether that be something in terms of getting your name more recognized, in terms of your cast and crew, getting them recognized as well, if there's any monetary prizes or anything like that. Obviously, you want to evenly spread that out to support your cast and crew. If there's any other form of recognition that you can get from festivals, take it while you can, because it honestly can become the most incredibly supporting thing throughout your journey as a filmmaker. But there's also other things that you can gain from film festivals. Obviously, this is a proof of concept short film. This isn't the end of the story. This is only the beginning. So if I can get this story to be seen by someone such as another filmmaker or just another artist, or hopefully one day a producer, if I can get them to see this story, to see the potential of these characters, the depths that this story goes to, if I can get them to see it, and if they love it, and if they want to support it, then this film can expand, this world can expand. And that is honestly one of the top priorities for me as a filmmaker submitting this film. I want this story to be seen, and hopefully there'll be a producer or someone who just loves this story who would want to support it, because I know this story is powerful. It is so powerful, and I'm ready, so ready to just delve even deeper into it. But with that all said and done, you've got to think of something else. And that, my friends, is a budget. We love a budget. Yes, it's a budget. Budget. Now, film festivals do cost money. They are not free. Well, most of the time they're not free. But you've got to keep in mind that at each deadline for each film festival, it does increase. So depending on when you want to submit, you've got to keep in mind how much are you willing to put forward to showcase your film. Now, for Devil, my budget was $300. $300, that's it. No more. If I could get under, even better. But that meant I had to spend evenly $150 on national submissions and $150 on international submissions. Now, that did help me to narrow down the selection process, and that made me decide, right, if I've only got $150 to spend on both national and international submissions, I'm going to keep it to 5 festivals for each area. Now, this is where you jump on Film Freeway and you do your research. You investigate the festival's aims, their purpose, their core values, the festival team, the past entries that have been submitted to festivals and have won awards and accolades. And you've also got to see as well if these film festivals have partnerships with production companies or distribution companies as well, because that can be vitally important as well when it comes to planning for the future beyond the film you're submitting. So with all that research done, and those 3 things that we spoke about earlier still in mind, I had found the right 5 festivals, both nationally and internationally, that I wanted to submit to. Some of these festivals are focused on sharing stories of LGBTQIA+ origins. Some of these festivals are cult or underground festivals that love to share original and daring stories such as this one. And of course, I wanted to make sure that I submitted to at least 1 or 2 festivals that had a prominent audience base and were more well known within the film community. I'm incredibly proud of the selection that I've made, and no matter the outcome, I've submitted to 10 film festivals. Like, that is a brilliant achievement within itself. But we haven't finished yet, because there's one crucial thing you got to keep in mind. And that, my friends, is a cover letter. This ain't no job interview though. It's not your typical cover letter that you'd write for a job application. This is a whole different ballgame within itself. You got to keep it short and sweet, because there are hundreds, if not thousands, of other people vying for a chance to be in the film festivals that you've applied for. And you got to make sure that in your cover letter, you grab the judge's attention just like that, because they do not have the time to sit through and flick through and read every single line of your cover letter. They want the key vital information, nothing more, nothing less. So when crafting this cover letter, I did my research and narrowed it down to these 5 little dot points that you got to keep in mind. You got to keep it to only 5 sentences. You got to address the festival directors and or judges. You've got to make sure that you research the film festival's aims, missions, and values and reference that in your cover letter. You got to keep 2 sentences free to discuss the story of the film and how that relates to the festival's core mission, values, and aims. And of course, you've always got to thank the team for their time and consideration in looking at your application. Now, I'm going to tell you this, your first draft is going to be trash. It's going to be bad, like super bad. But once you got something onto the page, once you got your vomit draft onto the page, you've got something to work with. And that's how you craft it and knuckle it down to those 5 core sentences that convey the message that you want to share to the festivals you are submitting to. Once you've done your cover letter, you pop that in and you put in all of the financial details and press that submit button, and that goes off to get reviewed, and then you just wait. You wait to hear back. Now, I'm currently waiting. I have not heard back yet, but honestly, genuinely, no matter the outcome of whether this film gets into festivals or not, I'm just incredibly proud that I made it. I'm incredibly proud that I brought this film to life through the turbulence, through the triumphs, through everything. It's been the most wild journey to see this film come to life, and I'm just so incredibly proud of it. It's going to be sad to say goodbye for now, but it's totally time to not move on from this story, because there's such a wider story that I'm so keen to develop. But I'm going to be taking a break from this story for now, and I'll miss seeing this set every now and then. I'll miss not working on this because I've been working on this for, God, at the end of this, it will be two years that I would have been working on it. 2 years of my life, and it's been the most life-changing 2 years. I've grown so much from this story, this world, this experience, and I just, I'm so thankful for everyone who has helped me along this journey. No matter what the outcome was, I'm just incredibly grateful that I got to know you, because now, now I've got this film, this beautifully chaotic film that's so raw, so deep, and I've gotten the chance to know these characters more than I ever thought I would ever get the chance to. I know this story, and especially these characters. I know them all too well.